Yadav, and today we are going to start first class of science, class 7th, and we are starting with the chapter 1, that is nutrition in plants. So let us first understand what is nutrition. The process by which the organism take in food and the utilization of that food is known as nutrition. I mean the process by which we take the food, like either the organism is preparing its own food or he is taking it from somewhere else, from some other animal or some other organism. This process is known as nutrition, in which utilization of food is also included. Okay, now this nutrition is further divided into two types. First is autotrophic and second is heterotrophic. Okay. So modes of nutrition are of two types, autotrophic and heterotrophic. In autotrophic mode of nutrition, all those organisms are included which can prepare their own food. That means basically the plants. So plants can prepare their own food. They do not take it from any other plant or from any other animal. They have the ability to prepare their own food. Hence they are called as autotrophs and they have autotrophic mode of nutrition. They are called as autotrophs. On the other hand, if we consider heterotrophic mode of nutrition, animals do not possess the ability to prepare their own food. They have to depend on plants or other animals to take their food. So, heterotrophic mode of nutrition, in this, the organisms which have heterotrophic mode of nutrition are called as heterotrophs. These are basically animals. That means we are also included in this. We are heterotrophs. We depend on plants and other animals for our food necessity. So, let's revise it once again. Nutrition, it is the process of taking food, and the utilization of food is called as nutrition. It is further divided into two types, autotrophic mode of nutrition and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. In autotrophic, those organisms are included which have the ability to make their food by themselves, that is the plants. So these plants are called as autotrophs. Heterotrophic of mode of nutrition, in this all those organisms are included which depends on other organism for their food. Hence they are called heterotrophs and animals are heterotrophs. Now let us go in detail for plants. How these plants prepare their food. Plants prepare their food by a process called photosynthesis. Here, photo means light and synthesis means to combine. So, photosynthesis becomes light, meaning of photo, and synthesis means to combine. In this process, as you know, plants have leaves which are green in color. So, why these leaves are green in color? There is a pigment called chlorophyll. Because of this, they have ability to absorb the sunlight. Now, if we look to the process of photosynthesis, in this process, the plants use sunlight as a source of energy, water and nitrogen from the soil, and carbon dioxide from air. They use these things to make their food. So here is the equation for photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide, which the plants take from air, water, they get it from the soil. Combining these in presence of sunlight, because sunlight gives the energy, and to absorb that sunlight, chlorophyll is required. So with the help of these, they prepare their food, and along with the food, they release oxygen which we intake during our breathing process. So this is the process of photosynthesis by which plants make their own food. Okay, let's see it once again. For photosynthesis, CO2, that is carbon dioxide, is required. H2O, that is water, is required. In presence of sunlight, with the help of chlorophyll, food is prepared, and as a byproduct, we get the oxygen. Here, in place of food, we can write carbohydrate, or we can write glucose, or we can also write starch. Any name from these four you can write, it is correct. Now, you might be wondering, what is the role of chlorophyll and how chlorophyll is helpful in absorbing sunlight. Just like we need energy to do any work, similarly here for making food, the leaves also require some energy. That energy they get from sunlight. Now, sunlight cannot be directly used in the plants. It cannot enter by itself. These chlorophyll cells help the sunlight to get absorbed in the leaves, and then the energy is stored in the plants, with which they process the food making process. Now, let us see how carbon dioxide enters the plant. There is a structure on the leaf . If you have ever seen the back side of the leaf, you might have seen a rough surface. On that rough surface, there are a number of small pores. This is the leaf. On the back side of the leaf, if you see under microscope, you will be able to see small pores. We have taken this part of leaf and I have drawn a single pore of the leaf. These pores are called stomata. In stomata, these kidney-like structures, these are called guard cells. In the daytime, when sunlight is present, these guard cells open up themselves and absorb the sunlight. During exchange of gases also, they open up, and after absorbing the sunlight or exchange of gases, they get closed. So this is the structure for stomata, from which carbon dioxide enters the leaf. Now water. The water in the plants gets absorbed through soil. Along with water, nitrogen is also required. So, nitrogen is also taken up by the plant through the soil. Sunlight is through sun, chlorophyll already present in the leaf, and food, basically carbohydrate or glucose. Along with this, oxygen is released into the air. From there, we inhale oxygen through our breathing system. So, this is the photosynthesis process. Now, let us understand the food part of this in some detail. Okay, let us understand the food prepared by the process of photosynthesis. The food prepared is carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is made up of three things: carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So carbohydrate is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. This food basically prepared in photosynthesis. The other foods prepared by plant are also there. They are protein and oils, or you can say fats. Here, proteins, this is a nitrogenous substance. Protein is a nitrogenous substance. That means for making protein, plants require nitrogen. Okay, that I have already told you in the equation. They take the nitrogen from the soil. As you know, nitrogen is present in the air in abundance. There is 78% nitrogen present in the air composition. So, there is abundance of nitrogen, but that nitrogen gas cannot be directly used by the plants for this process. So, this nitrogen gas is converted into the usable form by some bacteria into the soil, and from there it is absorbed by the roots of the plant, and hence it reaches inside the plant. So, for making protein, nitrogen is required, that is taken up by the roots through the soil, converted by the bacteria present in soil. Then oil and fats. These are also prepared by the plants as a food. Okay, let us revise what we have learned in this session is about nutrition, the process of photosynthesis. The conditions required for photosynthesis are: we require carbon dioxide, water, sunlight, it is the ultimate source of energy, and chlorophyll, the green pigment present in the plants. You must have seen some plants whose leaves are red or brown in color. They are just because these red or brown pigment, they mask the effect of chlorophyll. That's why the leaves don't appear to be green. But they have chlorophyll, that is, they can make their own food. Thank you.